Welcome learners to yet another module of Life Skill course. In this module, we are going to discuss a very significant and thought-provoking topic, that is evolution and development of the concept of life skill education. Before we start the session on life skill education, we will just recall about the concept of life skill. You might be familiar with the concept, but to prepare a platform for learning, we will just have a discussion on the basic idea of life skill. As you all know, life skill means any skill that we imbibe in order to live our life to its fullest. According to United Nations Children's Fund, life skill education refers to a behavioral change or behavioral development designed to address the balance of three areas, that is knowledge, attitude and skills. Now, we will just check what we mean by life skill education. We need to understand the fact that the world is growing fast. Communication and technology is also growing in a much faster pace, and we need to consider on things in this fast moving world, that is, we should be equipped with certain life skill in order to cope with this situation. And this life skill can be consciously learned. Majority of the life skills like decision making, problem solving, good communication, etc. can be trained and learned. When talking about global evaluation of life skill education program, we need to understand that UNICEF has taken a major role in supporting the introduction of life skill education both within country initiative and globally by producing guidance and standard documents. Life skill education trains a person to be a healthy being in the society. It trains a person to be mentally strong by facing and accepting all the challenges in life. It supports to face the reality of life. It helps to have a positive outlook towards every aspect in human life. It trains a person to adjust with others. It molds him to adjust with life situation and to face the reality of life. Above all, life skill education helps a person to understand his worth and dignity. We will just make a quick view of the importance of life skill education. First one, it is beneficial to the society. When we impart the healthy life skill to an individual, it in turn benefits the society. We may think how it is possible. When he learns life skill, he develops social skill, various positive attitude, good values and morals, which in turn is beneficial to society. Second one, it benefits the individual. Life skill gives many advantages to the person because it improves his knowledge, competence, communication, employability skills, etc. Third one, it helps in nation building. When an individual grows, he in turn contributes to the nation building process. Fourth one, it helps in building a healthy body. Life skill focuses on building a healthy body because it imparts the knowledge related to the psychological health, knowledge regarding how to prevent diseases or the prevention of drug abuse, which all result in developing a healthy life skill. Various strategies are opted to impart life skill education. We will just look into those strategies in brief. First one, brainstorming. You may be familiar with this strategy and many of you might have practiced it. While practicing brainstorming, students get an opportunity to think outside the box. They practice to deliver ideas quickly, which in turn helps them to bring up with different ideas in different life situations and thus equip them to develop problem solving skills. Second one, group discussion. As you all know, while being part of a group discussion, a person gets a chance to deliver his ideas constructively and at the same time he gets a chance to listen to others. In such a situation, a person develops interpersonal skills and learn a lot to control one's emotion, especially the emotion of anger. Next one, case study. Case study always profits a person to view the world in a wider perspective. A case study benefits the grasp a situation from its every angle. It helps to analyze the situation in detail and helps to come up with possible solution. While engaging in case study, learner will able to imbibe many life skills such as viewing things from others' viewpoint, helps to imbibe problem solving skills, helps to get a wider view of life, etc. Games. We all love to be part of it, isn't it? Games are more interesting and entertaining medium to learn life skill. While engaged in games, the learner will get more into the realm of communication skill. It helps to learn interpersonal skill. It helps him to face various real life situations, thus support him to improve problem solving skill. Role play. Role play is much innovative strategy where a person enacts a particular role. As we discussed in the other strategies, this strategy also helps him to understand the perspectives of others and will get an opportunity to deal with the various situations. Storytelling. Storytelling is not just about storytelling. It's not as simple as we think. Through storytelling, we are able to learn many skills, including listening skill, moral values, and also develops courage to face a small crowd if we are narrating the story. It also helps to communicate values through stories. Above all, hearing stories improves one's imagination. It also encourages the person to develop reading habits, which is one of the most important lifestyle skill. Last one, infusion. One of the recent strategy is infusion. It is a technique along with imparting the knowledge, maybe subject like science, maths or language subject. The learner also learn how to use the knowledge in his daily life. So, life skill education is really important because it deals with the areas like interpersonal skill, self-reflection, problem solving, decision making. We will now try to trace the evolution of life skill education. It will be very apt step to know how this life skill gained importance in the society, how the society began to feel the importance of life skill education, how the society began to accept this idea. Life skill education has many social, emotional, cultural and political benefits. You might have heard about Jack Ma. Tell me where you have heard about him. The importance of idea can be seen in such a height that Jack Ma, the chairman of Alibaba Group, stressed the importance of soft skill education and the life skill education for the success in job. Now, we are going to trace the evolution and development of life skill education. First, we should think why the various skills get recognition. In the beginning, education was purely based on knowledge. It was just focusing on imparting the facts of knowledge to the learner. But later, the society began to understand the importance of different skills and began to focus on these areas. World began to understand that beyond knowledge, there are certain things that we should give priority. Life skill education was focusing on psychosocial realms along with the aspect of departing the traditional knowledge. As we all know, growth of a nation depends on its citizen. A good citizen can be molded only through good education. Traditionally, imparting education just means imparting knowledge. So, the educationalists began to give much importance to the knowledge part of the system. Knowledge in the sense they began to focus on science and arithmetic. But as science and other branches developed further, they also began to focus on the psychosocial facts of the human being. Later, educationalists began to know that any education is life-based education. With the advent of science and medicine, the society began to recognize about the adolescent health, the adolescent psychology. Thus, the concept of life skill became part of education. Life skill education was considered with much importance even before the time of post-Renaissance. Writers like Jane Austen, Shakespeare were all much aware of good skill are needed in order to survive and flourish in the society. Thus, when we read Jane Austen's novel, we can see that the central theme will be regarding manners, which itself is one of the most important life skill. During that time, education and good manners began to be considered as the one key aspect of social mobility. But later, during the time of industrialization, people began to focus on money and labor, which turned their attention from life skill. Thus, during industrialization, there is no much position for the concept of life skill education. But in the new millennium, much prominence is given to the concept as the cultural and tradition of the people began to get more sensitive due to globalization. Life skill based education can be traced all the way back to 1986. Ottawa Charter focused on life skill even though the charter had a focus on the health and the better healthy lifestyle. The next step in the life skill education happened in the year 1989, Convention on the Rights of the Child. In this, the main focus was on the fullest potential expansion of the child. Later in 1990, Jomtien Declaration focused on much broader level, that is, they took the vision of education for all. In this level, they were actually having a much broader and wider perspective regarding life skill. Dhaka World Education Council that happened in 2000 in Senegal had a vision of imparting education to all by 2015. Life skill education later began to focus solely imparting education on various life skills so that human being can live a harmonious life with the nature. Later, they began to address various issues like health. UNGASS, United Nations General Assembly Special Session that was organized in the year 2001 was actually focusing the issue of health, which in particular focused on HIV AIDS. World Programme of Human Rights Education, which was organized in the year 2004, was to enlarge the concept of life skill education to all levels and all sectors. The United Nations Decade of Education for Sustainable Development aimed at reorienting the arenas of development. DESD aimed at education so that it will in turn help to develop a more sustainable future. DESD was having one view in mind, that education alone cannot help the world to grow, but it needs a collaborative effort from all realms like agriculture, industries, information and technology, etc. Violence against children by UN Secretary General Study, 51 Commission on the Study of Women, that is in 2007, the World Development Report organized in 2007 are the other major step in the growth of life skill education, and it also shows how various aspects of life were gaining position and gaining global attention. In 1989, United Nations in Convention on the Rights of the Child also focuses on the concept of life skill education. Jomtien Declaration of Education in 1990 also declares that life skill education is really important in today's scenario. Dhaka World Education Conference in 2000 also focused on the same. Life skill education is a word which is interpreted differently in different parts of the world, but it is also much debated topic in today's society. It should be noted that Dr. Krishna Kumar drafted a document in 2005 as part of National Curriculum Framework. In the document, he emphasized the importance of life skill education in schools as a part of curriculum. He notes, development of life skills such as critical thinking and coping and self-management skill is very critical for dealing with the demands and challenges of everyday life. It has been seen that adolescence age is one category where much attention and guidance is needed. It has been an area of attention around the globe. Countries like US, UK, Germany, Mexico focus life skill education as a medium to prevent HIV, drug abuse, smoking, drinking, etc. But the life skill training may change in the case of developing countries like Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, which will focus on improving the communication skill, focus on gender roles, basic healthcare, etc. Whatever the focus may be, the final goal of life skill education is to develop positive outlook towards life. Even world has reached to such a perspective that the life skill education is more important than the traditional concept of formal academic education. Next, we will have a look into the life skill education in India. We saw how the concept of life skill education evolved in the global scenario. Now, we are going to see how life skill education got acceptance in India. There are many organizations that work for the blooming of life skill education in India. NIMHANS or the National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences focused on the community health care, where it began to give importance on life skill education. NCERT, HRD Ministry and NSCO had engaged on the adolescents' health as a primary area to control AIDS. In India, the education of a child is focusing on the development of his personality. NCF, the National Curriculum Framework, is published by NCERT. When they design the textbook, they actually direct their attention on the life skill education. In 2005, CBSE introduced life skill as a part of curriculum. The first one, National Curriculum Framework. NCF is published by NCERT. In this, they proposed a framework how to disseminate life skill knowledge to the student. The following are the certain areas they took into consideration while focusing life skill education. In the report titled Mapping Life Skill in India, Research, Policy and Practice, they proposes the fruits of life skill education as follows. First one, the education for peace. Education for peace tries to inculcate the value of peace in the regular teaching learning process. Apart from instilling knowledge, the molding of individual to understand the value of peace. Here, NCERT emphasizes on the role of teachers. Second one, health and physical education. NCF also acknowledges the fact that health and physical education also plays a vital role in the life skill education. NCF understands the fact that focusing on health and physical education is actually builds a healthy nation. Third one, Adolescent Education Program. Adolescents Education Program is defined as important initiative that aims to empower young people with accurate, age appropriate and culturally relevant information, promote healthy attitudes and develop skills to enable them to respond to real life situations in positive and responsible ways. National Council of Educational Research and Training coordinate the programs and works through the both curricular and co-curricular format to contribute toward the holistic development of young people in pursuance of the National Curriculum Framework. It thus focuses on age appropriate education and developing appropriate life skills. Second one, government sponsored teacher training program. Yuva School Life Skill Program. This program is focused in Delhi. Here, the project directs its attention on teachers and students to train them to use the fullest potential. Second one, public-private teacher training. In this venture, they believes in giving teacher training for imparting life skills. It was a project that was launched in the year 2012. Third one, toolkits. Toolkits refers to various curricular recommendations put forward by the authorities. In the case of NCERT, they have formed a teacher suggestion packet in 2016, while CBSE formulated teacher manual on life skill. SSA project. Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan project by Indian government also emphasized the importance of life skill education as an important part of curriculum, especially focusing on the upper primary level of classes. Indian Association of Life Skill Education or IALSE is a best example to show how the country has started accepting the idea of life skill education. IALSE is a society registered under Tamil Nadu Registration Act. This is one active group which is actually working on the promotion of life skill throughout India. In India, life skill education also flourishes as a part of Rajiv Gandhi National Institute of Youth Development in 2008. They focused on actually training the trainers to inculcate the life skill in learners. This association provides a platform for all the society which focuses on life skill education to interact each other for the development of the individual, which in turn helps in nation building. IALSE is also focused on the teachers, educators, professors, NGOs. In short, they focus on the all arenas of society. Next, we will just see the future of life skill education. Life skill education believes in the fullest blooming of the potential of the human being. Life skill education focuses on health benefits, educational benefits, economic benefits. Thus, the world is concerned more and more about the importance of life skill education and emphasis more on skill development side of human being, which in turn helps in the development of a nation. Thus, it is sure that in future there is a vast possibility of life skill to be part of curriculum and policy building process of nations. Next, we are going to conclude the session. So, dear learners, we discussed about the concept of life skill. Then we saw in detail the idea of life skill education, its importance and the various strategies to impart life skill. Then we debated on how life skill education evolved in the world and how it advanced and flourished. Apart from all this, we also saw the position of life skill education in India. We concluded the topic by discussing about the future of life skill education in the global scenario. So, hope you all understood and enjoyed the session. We will meet in the next class. Thank you, dear learners.